Sometimes, all it takes is one moment for decades to be determined. Now, in the last video, Hope has actually returned to Germany. Not just Germany, Europe. And, Helmut Schmidt might pay the ultimate price for it. The bullet whiffed. Helmut Schmidt had lived to see that day passed. His hands shook just like Speer's did while Schmidt was handling the papers in front of him. Some things that had to do with the Reich banner of the slaves, whatever it was, he couldn't focus on it. After struggling to read a few paragraphs over and over, trying to remember and understand the words written out in front of him, he let out a frustrated sigh and set it down against the table. What had happened gnawed at his mind. Of everything that he was expecting Albert Speer to do, of everything that could have happened, he had decided to risk everything, just so that he could have had a shot at fulfilling his revenge. A fool. A madman. That's what Speer was. The knocks on his door jolted him awake, and though he was initially gripped by fear, he quickly steadied his nerves, making himself comfortable in the seat and giving a quick roll of his shoulders as two men came in. He had called them in the morning, and now they had finally arrived. Schmidt could calm his own worries somewhat. With a sharp and professional tone, he addressed them both. For your silence, expect your paychecks to be increased significantly. In return, I want not a word of this to escape anywhere. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. The two of you joined the Ordnungspolizei to serve the Reich, correct? Hesitantly, both men gave a nod. Then, you are aware that there will be grave consequences for letting this information slip. Again, they nodded. In that case, consider this your final test of loyalty. And so, the fate of Germany becomes clear. New focuses available. Replace allowed slavery with outlawed slavery. Some things must remain buried. I want to take a look at this real quick, just so we'd see. We have Speer, dictator, all that. Consider this your final test of loyalty. Developers note, if after the event the new focuses don't show up in the tree, simply save and reload your game, and they will appear. Oh? Do we got him? Nope. Okay, I'll go ahead and save real quick. Oh, wait. No. Okay. Maybe wait a little? No. I'll save this. Load her up. Whew. Well, this has been a roller coaster and a half. Do we got it? Wunderbar. Well, that is nice. How it just kind of mixes together. The dream come true. The impossible has happened. Helmut Schmidt has won out. In the greatest game of geopolitical cards ever played, Speer and Schmidt have dueled on the world stage, and Schmidt has emerged victorious, bloodied, battered, and bruised, but unquestionably victorious. with his negotiations with the revolt a total success, and the Reich bent irreversibly towards the gang's way of thinking. There seems to be no direction but up for the German reformists. Where does Germany go from here? Who knows? Never before has so much power in the Reich been held in the hands of men like Schmidt, Erhard, Kissinger, and Treschow, with Speer relegated to figurehead status. The future has been blown wide open for a gentler, understanding, democratic Reich, one ready to finally ditch its dark past for the glory of the modern world. One thing is certain, the citizens of Germany thought that they'd seen an incredible amount of reform before. They haven't seen anything yet. Albert Speer. One seldom recognizes the devil when he puts his hand on your shoulder. Then we have, he's a Schatten Regierung. Not to be confused with a Schlatten Regierung, which probably doesn't mean anything, but it's a reference to a famous Catholic, gay, Republican Green Party YouTuber Jonathan Schlatt, who, as we all know, very vocal. Okay, I'm going to translate this real quick. Schatten. Regierung. There we go, translate that. The shadow government, okay. Something like that. National Socialism has failed. It has failed all of the challenges it has met. It is now doomed to extinction. And who is to blame? Albert Speer finds himself with daggers pointed everywhere around him, but he knows that it is the Nazi Party that has ruined him, the liberals that have degraded the moral fiber of German society, the communists with their Jewish propaganda pulling their strings and threatening to corrupt his ideology. He wishes for the will to continue fighting for a better Germany, but he has been sapped of it all. Most days, he spends staring blankly in his office, absent-mindedly shuffling paper after paper, knowing that the power of a Führer is now merely a ploy. Sometimes he thinks back on men like Heydrich. Perhaps there was a silver lining in his words. And Helmut Schmidt is the worst offender of it all. He is a reflection in the mirror that stares back at him with a mocking smile. He is everything that represented the collapse of the Aryan man. Yet he has won out. And without men like Speer, there's only one path to go down. Albert Speer has failed. He has failed all of the challenges he's met. He is now doomed to misery. And who is to blame? After tense negotiations with the resistance group, Reich banished Schwarz-Rot-Gold, its partisan allies, and ecstatic Kurt Kissinger announced today in the Volkshall the reaching of an agreement with the protesters, in turn for wide-ranging reforms including the immediate abolishment of slavery and the Nuremberg laws, long overdue, according to the Deputy Führer. Order will be restored to the east. Met with infighting from within the Nazi Party not seen since the eve of the German Civil War. Public and foreign relations has nonetheless been overwhelmingly supportive, largely due to the liberties these amendments give the Reich and Zollverein. Führer Speer was notably absent during the announcement, allegedly recuperating from a minor flu. Reich banner leader Willy Brandt has reportedly fled to the United States. Well, who really is the Führer by now? The standstill had been long, and Anton was not used to acting like a soldier for a man his age, especially in the condition he was in. Sure, he'd gotten better after going home and getting better food than what he had before, but it was aching all the time and wanted this painful silence to end. One night a messenger had come around to his squad, and Anton was at the ready. Many thoughts coursed through his head, but as he glanced between him and Anna, he swallowed back the anxiety. The messenger, meanwhile, glowed with positivity. "Good news! Everyone, listen closely. The Reichsbanner managed to haggle with the Germans. We get to go home! What? shouted Antonin, and the messenger seemed ecstatic. "We gotta go home!" Instantly, cheers from Antonin's squad erupted and infected the partisans that were in the nearby buildings. His confused expression quickly shifted into a joyous grin, and he went to hug Anna, who gladly accepted it. We get to go home, Anna. We can finally rest. Oh my God. I've been waiting so long for this. And I've still yet to see you fire your gun, Anna replied, giving a short, happy chuckle, and they hugged each other, tighter before letting go. I asked if you joined the resistance back then, and here you are now. A freedom fighter who's gained his freedom without firing a single shot. Her expression sombered, though her smile remained. Antonin, she trailed off, as she could notice something, and he had an anxious look on his face. What's wrong? Antonin rubbed the back of his neck and smiled awkwardly. See, and I'm a widower, to put it bluntly, and as why I have no ring, but I'm sure I can buy you one eventually, will you? Anna leaped in and wrapped her arms around Antonin, and he could feel his eyes swell with tears. Yes, Antonin. I will. He felt his hands grab onto her back as if she was the most valuable thing in the world. I love you, Anna. I love you so much. I'm not crying. What the fuck are you talking about? What? I'm not crying. Oh God, that's fucking great. Holy shit. The French state has Algeria as a court. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh. Man. All they need now is a reunion of Gottfried. And I'm happy. Gottfried has to be the best, man. Please tell me. Despotism, authoritarian democracies. Dream come true. The House of Cards. The Nazi Party's never been a particularly stable party, but the last years have been especially chaotic, even by their standards. Though the level of discontent is obviously nowhere near the level seen on the verge of the Bürgerkrieg, it's an undeniable fact that the party is splintering once again. The dissenters are finally beginning to split from the reformist and reactionary wings of the party. If Speer was in charge, this would be an unmitigated disaster, one to be solved with extreme prejudice. However, Speer is not in charge. It more than suits our interest for the party to split, if anything. It would do us much good to hasten their breakup. The sooner the old party bureaucracy is out of the way, the better. And you know what? Oh! Okay. We'll see how that works out for them. You know, it was Erhardt's second shot glass of the night. The entire gang had gathered themselves in a fine restaurant in Germania that was bereft of any Nazi insignia, just to celebrate the night. Schmidt, he said, pointedly staring at the minister who was eating some meat. Have you ever thought that he would get this far? The musings of a drunk economic minister, Treschow cut in, giving a light smile. No need to ask him such pointless questions about the past. Erhardt found that ironic, considering who Treschow was, but the small grin didn't betray such an emotion to the Prussian, it seemed. Like the tracks of a tank, they are meant to push forwards, not backwards. As Schmidt finished up and wiped his mouth with a napkin, he gave a short cough. Gentlemen, he began, giving a short nod. I didn't expect to get this far, no. But here we are now. Well, Speer is now practically our puppet legislator. He seemed particularly pleased at being able to say those words with genuinity. Much of Germany is still against us, the Nazi Party particularly. If we want to keep our gains, we'll have to strike hard and fast. Kissinger spoke up for the first time since they began dining. It was particularly quiet, it seemed, and the rest were a bit surprised when they heard him talk. I concur. Tomorrow the memories of this dinner will fade, and we must all continue working earnestly. However, we did call this meeting specifically so that we could take some time off. After all, we discussed with each other enough about our plans, don't we? I believe this one night is one of a deserved break. Wouldn't you all agree? Schmidt didn't seem fully pleased with Kissinger wanting to cut it short, but eventually he had to give in. Perhaps his mind needed some rest. Perhaps he didn't have to think about everything at once for a few hours. The night went with peace and cheer. The park was uncrowded, occupied by only a few elderly men feeding the ducks aside from the duo in black and gray. They meandered slowly down the path in what, from the outside, appeared to be a relaxing catch-up between friends. Few would have guessed these two were the most dangerous men in the world. It's over then? Gillen's expression was inscrutable behind the sunglasses. I suppose you'll be taking my place after I resign? Vessel nodded. Who else? You made certain that nobody in your bureau could be trusted to take the job. You're lucky you won't be shot. If Gillen felt the jab, he didn't show it. Vessel felt something boiling in his stomach. All the shit Reinhardt had put him through. Dead ends, dead men, blackmail, treason. He was just gonna roll over now. You know, Verflitzen, shut up. Stop with those stupid fucking codenames. And take those ridiculous fucking glasses off. For once in your damn life. For once, Gillen seemed taken aback. He folded up his sunglasses and seemed to place them into his pocket, revealing a pair of striking blue eyes. They seemed to be watering, or was that... Gerhard. If it's still worth anything, I'm sorry. For trying to kill you for one. Vessel unsubconsciously reached for his missing ear. You know damn well your word doesn't mean shit. I will fix what you broke. No more aliases or stupid disguises, no more double dealings or treason. Once I'm done with the R&D, it will be extremely hard to tell you ever existed at all. Reinhardt gave a sad smile. As it should be, I suppose. Many of my decisions were mistakes, I know, though I'm sure you'll disagree. Which ones? But the one thing I am sure of was not a mistake, was you. This time it was Vessel's turn to be taken aback. Gillen turned towards him and let out his hand. After a second's consideration, he took it. Goodbye, Gerhard. Goodbye, Reinhard. He finally walked away. Damn. This is... What's going on here? I don't care about the fucking war. The war's been over for a while. Let's fight some systematic issues. Iranian conflict, I'm not too worried about that. England's already way on our side. I mean, you might as well. Give them support. And so the House of Cards will fall. Ah. Yeah, the Imperial State is kind of kicking ass right now, I'm not going to lie. The desk of the head of R&D was an unfamiliar fit for Vessel, but he would have to get used to it fast. Politics and espionage went hand in hand, and both were proceeding at a rate of knots. He'd been induced into a host of new secrets that came with his new position, the first and foremost of which was a problem with Burgundy. He'd known the rogue state had an impressive network of intelligence officers, but the depth to which it extended boggled his mind. He had heard of information gathering operations in Germany, and rumors of operations in the USA and Japan. Today he'd been informed their networks expanded across the former triumvirate. The Reich, China, and Indonesia, virtually every theater of conflict on the globe. R&D operatives had been virtually unable to uncover little of their operations other than their presence, and the fact that wherever Burgundian agents were, chaos and destruction soon followed. He'd heard unsubstantiated reports that they were behind virtually every political assassination in every country in the past 20 years. And partisan movements across the globe had been noted to carry arms bearing traced to the silent state. Okay. To be bearing arms traced to the silent state. There we go. The motives for these operations were still unknown. With a single shred of concrete information from stolen SS documents in Italy sent before their mole went dark. Their operations all contributed towards Himmler's global plan. Why? What twisted plan did the Reich Führer SS have that required the murder on a global scale? Vessel picked up his phone and started making calls. I will dig you out, root and stem. You know, I was kind of joking about doing this, but I think I can remember where it's at. Oh wait, we're way behind in research, but it doesn't matter at this point. Although our debt is kind of nutter butters. Holy crap, that's a lot of civilian spending. Holy shit. Maybe we should chill out a little bit on that. I mean, I know it doesn't matter. I know for the record, guys, it doesn't matter. Occupied territories. Manage subjects. Exiled governments. We don't have any of those. I just wonder if there's a way to just return Crimea to them. If there is, I'm blanking on it. The House of Cards has collapsed in and of itself. Now we'll get working with the shadow government. In all but name, the Gang of Four controls the reins of power in Germany. Speer's role has been crushed down to only the most ceremonial duties, a mere figurehead to the powers behind the scenes. However, Albert Speer is still the Führer. It is theoretically possible that he could stage a return to power, something he is undoubtedly plotting, given the more the negative nature of the gang's takeover. In order to cut him off before he gets even the chance to try and return, we shall strengthen our position with important members of the Reich's bureaucracy that hold similar views as we do. If we are able to dominate the upper levels of a document with men who dislike Albert Speer as much as the gang, there will be no real danger of him ever returning to prominence. There we go. Yeah, I've started making demands, I'll tell you that much. Ooh. Oh boy. Well, we've taken back the Suez Canal. That's pretty cool. Are they gonna go after... Okay, they are at war now. I'm kind of curious, but yeah, they're doing it. Well, the Greeks broke free, it seems. And Italy has nukes. Uh-oh. Probably should have, tried to cool relations down, I guess. That doesn't matter. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. How was Boris the big boy doing? Not too bad, actually. Impressive, even. There goes the Islamic Republic. Now it's over. We lost war in Iran. Blame lackluster. Da-da-da-da-da. None of that, however, changed one simple fact we've lost, and our access to Iranian oil fields has almost been completely cut off. Well, what are you going to do? Contact popular movements. The gang's solidification of power is not merely contained to the inter-party bureaucracy. Outside of the party, a shift in Reich's policy has drawn sort of dissenters' interests, seemingly intrigued by the new course the gang has set out. The dissenters, along with the previously mentioned allies in the upper ranks of the Reich, may be able to provide valuable legitimacy and credible ideas. As such, a semi-formal conference has been scheduled to take place in Frankfurt, the center of movements for German democracy since the 1800s. With numerous big names invited to appear, this conference may set the course for the next stage of the Reich. It's for the best that we prepare. Let's do it. We'll give all these guys advisors. Can't really do that to them. Yeah, that works. I don't know if that's gonna matter though. Shoot, do I want to save him? I kinda do. Ah, fuck it, I already saved him earlier. Oh yeah, I took out some of her troops earlier. You know, we don't have official, you know, relations with them. They can fuck off. They think that we're gonna be nice to them. Yeah, you can get the fuck out of here. Hey, get the fuck out of here. It's probably a horrible waste of time, and I should probably be focusing on more relevant stuff, but I'm not. So, you know, what do you expect from me? I just kind of want to see what happens if they end up winning anyway. T-debug. Tag EG. I'll just dismantle all of our troops. Mass rebellions have been reported in the Sinai Peninsula. T-debug. Tag jur. There we go. Alright. That's a bit of an issue. Who cares about them? I don't really. Oh, it's getting close to 1 a.m., but I'll finish this series off with this part, I think. Oh, better training, very nice. Contact popular movements. Okay. Einigkeit. There's no easy way to put it. The Reich is dying. The systems that the German people have known and trusted for decades, despite their cruel, oppressive natures, are finally being torn down. Such a rapid shift, even after the years of revolt reform instituted before the slave revolt, have thrown the people into a river of change without the knowledge of how to swim. They are scared, confused, and alone, something that we cannot allow to become the national mood, unless the tide of reactionary sentiments will sweep us back out the door. We shall be the angels to these shepherds, taking their hand and leading them in a unified, caring front towards the future, past the gruesome history we've worked so hard to get away from. We shall take them to our own Bethlehem, where finally a free Germany awaits us, and they will not be afraid. A new era is nearly at hand, and it is our duty to bring the German people to it. In Weimar there was a conference, all meeting in secret. They were a gang of 4, and the men who represented the fledgling democracy movement in Germany. Of the numerous there, 3 stood out: Richard von Weizsäcker, Günter Grass, and Axel Springer. Though their political differences ranged from mild to severe, they all shared a unified goal: a free Germany, rid of Nazi ideology. And what would have been a long, in-depth conversation in secrecy had its bearings shattered and torn when a certain someone made an unexpected visit. "I have seen your efforts, dear friends of mine." Hermann Josef Abs spoke, standing in the doorway as 7 faces stared at him, a mix of fear, worry, and shock. Abs locked eyes with Erhard, who seemed positively disgusted, and he gave a sharp smile. "If you are concerned that I am here because of the destruction of ID Farben, have no worry. My interests are much more than a mere slave-driver company in Germany. I have something far more valuable that remains and shall remain fully untouched. It is, however, something I can offer you all." Eric's hands shook, and he was tempted to slam it on the table and demand that he get out. Yet Schmidt's voice cut through the air, and his tone was much more neutral, if not even interested. "Herr Erhard has made me aware that your main shareholder is Deutsche Bank. Is that something you're referring to?" Abs nodded, taking a step into the room. "National Socialism is dying. The Nazi Party doesn't understand that, but you all do. The writing's on the wall is obvious, my friends. With power in your hands, I expect you all to begin the push for a Germany that sheds its old, egregiously brutal skin for something more humane and new." Erhard resigned himself into angered yet horrified silence. "And you know what, Herr Schmidt? Consider Deutsche Bank your Wunderweapon." Go on, guys. Come on, do something. Bread and circuses. You know, if they don't manage to do that, they can fucking die. I don't care. And here we have where's the shadow government? There's like a lot of gaps here. I don't know if that's if that's something they can fix anytime soon. Slavery is abolished. Based. Einigkeit. Reich. The German people have been deprived of many, many things since 1933, but perhaps the most important one is justice. For decades, Nazi officials have gotten away with some of the most heinous crimes possible. Corruption, treason, murder, 1,000 other acts that would put any average citizen in a penal labor camp for the rest of their lives. All waved away simply because of the armband these men proudly wore. Now it's time to turn the tables on them. Perhaps it's poetic that many of the most important figures that stand in the way of freedom and democracy are blatant criminals. One could certainly find meaning in that. However, we are not looking for poetic metaphors. We are looking for the hands of the law to come crashing down on the traitors' heads. The judge's gavel will be the primary weapon of our new legal war, and these men will face justice for the acts that they have committed against so many. Yeah, these guys just might be fucked, honestly. And if that's okay, I'm sure whenever they get content, I'll hop in and play it. But now, who fucking cares? Do they have cores on this? No. So once we take Sinai, they're probably fucked. And I'll just overextend the Italians even more. I mean, they'll just fucking die. Realistically. Let's do another campaign. Why not? Can't think of anything else to do. Yeah. Honestly, I'm not surprised about that. Reich. And then we have Freiheit. The regime-leaning tick is disabled. Freedom is a long and blocky road, especially for a nation with autocracy as baked into its culture as Germany. The German people are used to having strong men with their Hitler or Speer direct their nations for them, crush their freedoms in the name of their supposed safety or self-interest. These are all fascist lies, and now the chance has come to cut the cancer out and replace it with a free democratic Reich. Not be perfect. Lord knows how many times Erhard, Schmidt, Kissinger, and Treschow have eared. There will be rough patches, as there always are. Sacrifices will need to be made. It's not going to be an easy road away from the signs of fascism, but a light at the end of a tunnel, a Germany where all are free and equal, is no longer forced to fear the government. It's enough to keep the gang toiling. They will toil until they drop, until their dream is achieved. There's much work to be done, and the gang is ready to do it. I'm not gonna lie, a nice... Just on a bed. That sounds really nice right now. I don't even know what else to say right now. I mean, we've got more or less... We're at a happy ending. We're at a happy ending right now. We really are. Speer has been cucked. Antonin is free. We got what? Erhard can finally open up his dream gelato store on in Cologne. That might be that might have to be something that comes in my fan fiction or something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But a new era. Germany is undergoing yet another visible change, one of many that has already experienced this century. The oil crisis combined with the Great Slave Revolt has shown us that our model of governance is outdated. Germany is running its nation aligned partners like the great powers of the Victorian era ran like their personal spears out of influence. Our model is hopelessly outdated. The last two back-to-back crises have proved without a doubt that we cannot simply ignore the rest of the world, like it or not. But if we are retaining our status as an influential and great power, we need to be able to work with others, not as a superior or overlord, but as equals. International cooperation is the way forward. Here he was again. Helmut Schmidt had been to so many places, yet he rarely visited his home city of Hamburg. His birthplace, his sacred home. Perhaps he was afraid of coming back to it and to be swallowed in its memories. as then and even now there was no time to afford for traces of weakness. But things had changed. Things were different now. As Schmidt walked through the rich morning of a city where his eyes would have focused on the vain, oversized Nazi banners, where residents and apartments living out their daily lives. Whether he would see soldiers patrolling the streets, there were men and women fighting for a better Germany, raising the banner of freedom to voice their anger and protest that shook the city. The city was no longer familiar to Schmidt, but nostalgia still pulled him inwards. Hitler and his regime had built it up in such a way that even when he visited Barmbek, the old village where he spent his childhood days, there was barely anything that resembled what he had known for 2 decades. And he had walked through it like it would have any other district. There was one place, however, that would remain unchanged. It was right next to Barmbek. The Außenalster always remained the same. He knew the Nazis couldn't have tainted its water. Somewhere along the coast, Schmidt had stood at the edge of the water and stared at all the sailing boats past. He remembered being on one of his fathers as a child, demanding to go back and loop around when they were done. Now there were so many others. People, sometimes alone and sometimes together, sometimes with their children, enjoying so much in a way that was now alien to them. Yet the air was so much lighter now. 10 years since Schmidt had entered the dark tunnel, the light had begun to pour in. So much fear, so much anxiety, contrasted by the serenity of a peace that he felt while in Hamburg. Schmidt looked down at his arm, that bright, burning reminder that seared his flesh and assaulted his mind whenever he looked at it. The armband he wore was a constant reminder that he deserved to be afraid, deserved to die. But no more would he force himself to follow the orders of a madman. He had done what many could never do. He did not feel prideful for it, as a man who dodges a death sentence would feel proud about avoiding the inevitable. Instead, as his fingers tugged under the fabric and slid across his arm, he felt relief. Sheer, unmitigated relief. When the armband slipped from his wrist and slid against and out from the grasp of his fingers and landed in the water with a silent thump, Schmidt breathed. Everything felt so much clearer than it did before. He could finally live. His judge, jury, and executioner would never pursue him again, but there was work to do, and so Schmidt turned around and began walking. He knew what he had to do. And it is time. It's time. Oh, who cares about that? I don't fucking care. This game is over. And this is the epilogue episode, pretty much. We're gonna coast around, and I'll get effects from civilian austerity. That's fine. Our debt is gonna be nuts anyway. Old Bennett boy is about to step down from office. We'll see who ends up succeeding him. Yeah, Italy's gonna overextend itself. But you know, that's what you get for going down the cringe Scorza route. Am I right? Now it's time for a new era. But first, let's set an example in the West. The Americans have something going on for them with that OFN. Although the member nations of that organization are more than the U.S.'s pawns, their organization's willingness to cooperate with each other is unparalleled when compared to our pact or Japan's Speer. While their alliance is nowhere near perfect, there are many lessons to be learned by observing them and how they interact with one another. So, bonus to liberal democracy. Ooh. The German Reich has found itself at a standstill. As it has begun the moment of opening up, it has similarly undergone a transformation. It is no longer an economy that maintains stark austerity and hostile, almost warlike relations with the other superpowers. Instead, it has unlatched itself from the old ways and now floats aimlessly in the new world, attempting to cling on to both the past as a giant who conquered Europe and beat back the imperialist world powers, and the present as a dove, wishing to extend the olive branch either out of a sense of goodwill or sheer pragmatism. Our new order cannot shift and ebb and be so fluid as it was before. If it is to become the rock that will bear the coming storm, Germany cannot be ever-changing. It must steady itself. It must not rock the boat. It must find its way forward. There's no more time to bicker between the debates of many sides in our country. A way is put, the path is clear, and we need only go down it. Germany's fate beckons towards freedom. Well, there goes all the support we put in. It kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. We put all that work in and nothing fucking happened, but... You know, what are you gonna do? Just keep doing that. I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, we might as well we'll finish up this focus, and then we'll talk about, just kind of reflect on the series. Because this was an absolute fucking blast for me, personally. I enjoyed the shit out of this. Time for change. The oil crisis definitely has had a lasting effect on the global market. Nations seem to be more hesitant in overseas purchases, which is making relations and connections with foreign interests more important than ever. If Germany is going to move into the future, then we need to adapt if we wish to remain relevant as a world power. There we go. This was great. I got a lot of support for the series. Not quite as much as the massive support when the mod first came out, but that was completely unprecedented, and I don't know how the fuck that happened. So, you know, I'm happy. I'm grateful. Needless to say. Oh god, that is ugly. That is very fucking ugly. That is cringe. But yeah. Complete blast with this one. Just amazing writing. In general. Fun enough gameplay. If there weren't even any wars going on, and I didn't mind. Just because we're doing so much shit with that. Trying to get rid of slavery. With trying to, do all the diplomatic stuff. It was great. I cannot give enough love to the makers of this mod. Not only because, you know, they kind of helped boost my YouTube channel to the heights that it's at right now, but, I mean, shit, look. I mean, they made this amazing fucking mod. The Japanese are the perfect example of a crumbling, decaying empire. Their golden age, if one can even call their exploitation of Asia golden, has long since passed. The Japanese government is decaying, and their army and navy only keeps their spirit together thanks to their impressive firepower. The Japanese compose themselves like a bunch of thugs. They are the perfect army for the world to unite against. Not since the 30s has such a prime target offered itself to be the world's boogeyman, and for once, it's not us! Which is nice. The ants pack, the OFN, the Co-Prosperity Spear. All power blocks built only to sustain themselves out of the ashes of the Second World War. They existed only to expand their influence and combat their enemies, as peace was hardly seen as a viable alternative in the years following Germany's glorious triumph. Yet now, decades later, we see that there is something new brewing. The oil crisis has struck the world as a knife to expose flesh. It has exploited the weakness found in all the blocks that encompass the world, every superpower attempting to take it on by themselves, only to find that such a course of action not only efficient, but actively detrimental. Along with it, the revolt of slaves has shown Germany that it cannot stand alone. We've made token efforts to appease the other two superpowers, true, but it's finally time for the Reich to stand together in full earnest with the rest. The Einheitspacht cannot be solely Germany and its puppets. It can be more. For the good of the world, it must be. To the development of something new. Ah, man. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I've said a fair bit already. Like, I had fun. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on the series. You guys have seemed to enjoy it as well. And, what else is there to talk about? Stuff we could have done better. I mean, the big thing that comes to my mind is, well, you know, not having to cheat during the Civil War. But I'm glad we did that, just, you know, make things a bit more timely, get through things a bit quicker, and just kind of get to the heat of the action. People didn't seem to mind that much. I saw, like, a few dislikes on those episodes, but I get random dislikes throughout at my part, so I don't know if that's necessarily because of what I did, or just something else. But, you know, whichever, I don't mind too much. Let's prime the ambassadors. To unveil our new foreign policy to the world. We will release a statement to all our diplomats overseas. The time of German isolation has ended. The future of Germany, and by extension the world, relies on cooperation. It's time to make our ambassadors prove their worth. Their mission? The mission is surprisingly simple. Their mission is to do their jobs. It's time to build relations with the nations of the world. Well, there we go. Report on the state of Japan. The Empire of Japan is beginning to crumble. As with Crow's Prosperity Spear, interest in the 1970s, it has had a very weak start. With the intensive modernization of China, they are rapidly beginning to climb to the status of a co-equal partner within the Spear. An insight into Japanese politics tells us that there's heavy friction about the idea that China could ever possibly be anything more than a puppet to the Spear, and thus their internal stability is beginning to fall. I think that their stability is fucking gone already, let me tell you. Yeah, they are fucked. They are fucked. Japan is fucked, do not mistake it. It's advised to pursue stronger diplomatic and trade relations with the OFN, particularly the U.S. The state of their internal politics is much stronger than that of Japan, and they have a massive and still growing economy that we could expand our interest into, as well as having a large surplus of raw, refined goods. Also, China is a nation with a vast, untapped population, industrial potential, and common outlook. Advise to form interest with them as well. More information can be found about interactions between China and Japan can be found on pages 1 to 15, and page. Well, it seems like Pan-Asianism was the most well thought out idea. Who'd have thought? Yeah, shit. I think it's going to be between the Socialist and the Islamic Republic. There we go. I don't know. I have all this PP. My PP is so fucking big, I don't know what to do with it. I really don't. Also, we'll see what happens. Well, we might not see what happens because we might cut soon. Here, we only have what, 42 days left. Now it's time to collect proposals. Already our brightest minds are hard at work drafting proposals for the formation of a new council that all nations of the world can sit on. Dozens upon dozens of names alone are floating in our Foreign Affairs Office, as well as more than a few ideas about what the structure of such an organization would look like. Inspired from the League of Nations, the short-lived United Nations and other historical suggestions is evident in many of these proposals. While most of the ideas are just that, proposals, it's exciting to see how eager and motivated not only our people, but foreigners are to create another international organization. Yeah, I'm waiting for Burgundy to propose their whole proposal to nuke the world. That'll be a fun one to see that try to go down. Himmler, you disgusting fuck. What are you doing? Unknown focus. Streng geheim. Streng geheim. Streng geheim. Geheim geheim streng. I feel like what Team America World Police were like all their like the terrorists are like Muhammad Allah Jihad or whatever it is. Burka Burka Muhammad Jihad, that's it. It's like that looking at fucking Himmler's tree. God damn. Collect the proposals. Now it's time for the Coalition der Nationen. The Coalition of Nations, that will be the name of the New World Order. It's not a mere novel idea. Practice and experience from the League of Nations and United Nations have been taken to help us create this new organization or coalition. Different boards for maximum flexibility, a pathway to membership, a parliament, and much, much more. Although in its infancy on paper, the idea that many people in our administration hopeful for the future, it's time to test waters and let the Japanese and Americans in our plans. As the next two largest superpowers, their input and support will be vital to making this dream a reality. Beautiful. I could have sworn there was an option to, like, just release the land to him. I might be mistaken. Test your shit there, partner, or it... something. I don't know, Gus. I don't think these guys have tested shit. I'm joking. I'm mostly joking. There's, you know, there's some truth to jokes. And subjects. It's the Ukrainian National Republic. I just really have not fucked around with any of this, so I don't know how it works. There we go. The last focus. I know we get one last event. Right? Please tell me I get it, because it's a... There we go. Kissinger bit his thumb lightly. They received the letter, Vel, you say? He asked Schmidt, and the man nodded. That's very good. Kissinger withdrew his thumb and put his hands together. I'll be looking forward to help develop this idea. We should be working on as close as possible to get a theoretical framework of what a coalition would look like. Make certain the other two superpowers that it would be worth their time joining. However, Kissinger let a second or two of silence pass before he continued. Herr Speer, Helmut, he's a volatile element. As Schmidt took in his words, he momentarily closed his eyes in thought. Then he shook his head. No, he began with a sigh. Speer is quite the stable substance, I would say. Kissinger looked at him with suspicion, but Schmidt in return glowed with confidence. I have seen him as very cut. He is nothing but a hollow shell of a man. He is a liar, a coward, a thief, and an architect of nothing but murder. To name any positive traits about him would be deluding myself. To your eyes, that would make him unstable. But to me, Schmidt turned around his chair and looked to the window outside. He is the perfect puppet. Kissinger froze up for a moment. He hadn't expected the man who'd grazed death under the presence of a Fuhrer to so openly denigrate him. So you have no worries? Then I see. A question, however. Schmidt made no motion to decline answering. Would you dare say this all to his face? If he is such a weak puppet, then you would get away with doing so. Schmidt's stoic frown cracked, and he gave a slight smile. Then a chuckle followed, as he turned around and gave Kissinger a look of renewed vigor. What makes you think I haven't done so already? The Nazi Party has been giving a mortal blow, and Speer himself, bitter, increasingly more withdrawn as loss of influence, has not longed for the world. The Gang of Four emerge victorious from the battle with their Führer. Whatever the hope they may grant will be a struggle, but should the right people prevail, it will be one of hope. From the entire Speer team, thank you for playing. We hope you enjoyed it. I did. And so dusk approaches upon the new order. Of course, I start fucking up the reading now. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. I had a blast doing it, doing this campaign. I hope you guys did too. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, anything of the sort, go ahead and leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get. I appreciate any and all feedback kind folks might have for me. If you're worried about if you're curious about what's next, I'm probably gonna be doing some stuff other than Hearts of Iron 4. It's probably gonna be out by the time your video is seeing this. It's gonna be GTA 5 is gonna be one I want to do another sort of story game, and probably something called Doki Doki. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be, but I've heard things about it, so I'll give it a shot. What else? Oh yeah, if you want to keep up to date with, if you want to chat or play games, if you want to watch me do random stuff on live, or if you want to send a few bucks my way, I have my Discord, my Twitch, and my Patreon links all in the link below, so you can check that out. I think that's really it. So thank you again, guys, for watching. It's been a blast. I know a lot of people have been watching this, so I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, but I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Thank you for playing. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.